Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today I am going to attempt to divide and harvest from this ginger plant that I've been growing for years. I think I've had this like 5 or 6 years. Believe it or not, I got this as a tiny like 1-quart pot, and it's been growing really well. I've never harvested from it, and we have 22 degrees in tomorrow night's forecast, and my heated shed is completely full. And in fact, it's so full that it's significantly cut down on our beer drinking because we can't get the refrigerator door open without taking a bunch of pots out. Now, I don't have room to add this 7-gallon grow bag in there, so my thought was this is the time for me to go ahead and divide it up. I'll be able to overwinter a small piece, and then I can actually distribute and harvest the rest of this for culinary purposes, like through the holiday season as I see family and friends. Now, part of the reason I've avoided doing this is simple. I think that wrangling this out of the container is gonna be like an Olympic sport, and it's gonna remind me of exactly how not in shape I am. But I'm gonna do it because time is of the essence. So stay tuned to see my progress. Well, I pretty quickly modified my ambitions. To be perfectly honest, like, it smells like ginger, but it's not the root that I would think that you would use for culinary purposes. So maybe I don't know what this plant is. That's totally possible. Like, I do not have a steel trap mind. I thought it was ginger, but I don't know. I don't really see the point in sharing it with people if it's not the normal, like, edible ginger that you would buy at the store, which it doesn't look like that at all. So I've decided instead that you could see how well rooted it was, and I ripped this fabric bag up pulling it out, but that's okay. They're not forever. I have a pot here that I will overwinter in my shed because I have room for a pot this size. And then this big clump of it, I'm gonna go plant this in the woods and just see if it's hardy. You know, I mean, normally you would want this to grow in full sun, but for the purpose of like zone bending, I'm gonna give it an extra protected spot in the woodland, high soil so it won't get too saturated over the winter. And I mean, if it overwinters, then I can transplant it in the spring into somewhere else and grow it as a hardy plant in the foodscape. Instead of a high maintenance bag plant that this needed a ton of water every single day. So yeah, I'll look forward to sharing an update this spring, whether it comes through the winter or not. Okay, so here we are, kind of in the back area of the garden, area that has never really been established. I would never show this area to anybody. That next year, or you know, as we develop the next door property, I'm actually planning on making a relatively large driveway, probably just with, like, you know, gravel, not a permanent driveway, because this floods all winter long. But I want to be able to have access between the two properties, and I want it to be the farther section instead of up in the middle of the yard. And this is an area with really good tree cover. It's definitely, you know, not as exposed as out in the front half of the garden. So I think for zone bending on a potentially tropical ginger, this would be a good spot, a pretty logical area to give it a try. And because this area floods, and when I say floods, I mean like in the winter, when we get a lot of rainfall, this is standing water, and it can be standing water for several months. I'm not actually gonna plant this very deep into the ground. I'm just gonna compensate by putting a bag of soil cube around the base of it. And then of course it gets all the leaves that are falling at this time of year. And when I get back after the Thanksgiving holiday, I'll probably add some more mulched leaves just to give it some extra insulation. So my process for this, and again, I have no idea if this will work or not, but it's worth a try. Ooh, it's super rooty. So it's good that I'm not trying to dig a really deep hole. In fact, I see some soil that I already have back here. I'm gonna go ahead and put it here. I am the laziest digger. Oh, I swear. Shovels were not made for women. So I know this is like the weakest hole you've probably ever seen, but honestly, that's about all it needs. And now I'm just gonna plop it in there. Maybe I need to make it just a little bit wider. Okay, now we'll do the plop. Yep, I think that's about right. And now I'm just gonna knock out this soil. This was a bag that I actually grew plants in all summer. It has some roots left. Tomatoes, that's fine. These tomatoes did not die from disease because they were planted in straight soil cube. Oh, golly. There we go. Whew. So I'll just push this around and I'll actually come back with a rake. Just toss a bunch of leaves around this. Call it good. Keep my fingers crossed. Doesn't matter really if it doesn't overwinter. It's fine. I have a piece that will grow out. I'm going to keep that in my heated shed. But if it is hardy, then I'll know that I can actually plant it out in the garden and get it established next spring. I wouldn't necessarily want to keep it back here because of course this is an area that no one sees and it's a really beautiful plant. Time will tell. And that's really what the experiment of gardening is all about. Might as well give it a try. What do you have to lose, right? So I know some people are gonna watch this video and think I'm giving you terrible advice. And you know what? Maybe I am, or for some regions, this tactic wouldn't work, but I could tell you from experience that it does work here in my Central North Carolina Zone 7 garden. In fact, a year ago at this time, I did exactly that to this hardy banana. I didn't even plant it in the ground. I put it on the surface and just mounded soil around it. And look at what it's done this season. So, I know it's a little unconventional, but the advice I share really is tried and true, at least for the area that I garden in. Now, if you found this video to be helpful, please give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to the Bree the Plant Lady channel. I look forward to giving you updates throughout the season in my weekly garden tours, which I try to post every Sunday. As always, thank you so much for watching, everybody.